Welcome to CCN Midday News. I am your host, Captivating Christian, and here are some of your top stories for today, April 9th. Sanders quits the Democratic Party for president. Biden is the party's apparent nominee. Trump sees limits of presidency in avoiding blame for the virus. U.S. nurses who can't get tested fear that they may be spreading the COVID-19. Porter has receipts showing that Trump chose a quick buck over American lives. Linda Tripp, the Clinton scandal whistleblower, dies at the age of 70. A Kentucky man whose sexually assault sentence was commuted, arrested on child pornography charges. And Diamond and Silky's Twitter account locked for breaking the coronavirus misinformation rules. And lastly, Long Island burglars thought that they could get away with it because of the coronavirus. Let's get to the news. Senator Bernie Sanders has ended his presidential campaign. He announced on Wednesday, leaving former Vice President Joe Biden as the apparent Democratic presidential nominee. I have concluded that this battle for the Democratic nomination will not be successful, and so today I am announcing the suspension of my campaign. Sanders told supporters in a live stream, saying that he wished he could provide supporters with better news, but I think you know the truth. We are now some 300 delegates behind Vice President Joe Biden, and the path to victory is virtually impossible, he said. Sanders, the independent from Vermont, called Biden a very decent man who I will work with to move our country progressive in ideas forward. Calling the decision difficult and painful, Sanders said that he had to make an honest assessment of the possibility of victory. He also added that he understands some supporters who want him to fight on through the convention, but he could not in good conscience continue to mount a campaign that cannot win and interfere with the important work required of all of us in this difficult hour as the COVID-19 outbreak grips the nation. President Donald Trump is confronting the most dangerous crisis a U.S. leader has faced this century as the coronavirus spreads. A once vibrant economy flutters. As the turmoil deepens, the choices he makes in this critical weeks ahead will shape his re-election prospects, his legacy, and the character of the nation. The early fallout is sobering. In the White House, best case scenario is more than 100,000 Americans will die and millions more will be sickened. At least 10 million have already lost their jobs, and some economists warn that it could be years before they find work again. The S&P 500 index has plummeted more than 20%, and the U.S. Surgeon General predicted on Sunday that this week will be our Pearl Harbor moment as the death toll climbs. These grim realities are testing Trump's leadership and political skills. Unlike any challenge he has faced in office, including the special counsel's investigation and the impeachment probe. In New York City, an intensive care nurse treated patients for 3 days after she started to display symptoms of the COVID-19, but couldn't get a test from her hospital. In Georgia, a nurse was denied a test after treating an infected patient who succumbed to the virus. In Michigan, one of the fellow hospital systems conducting a widespread staff testing found that more than 700 workers were infected with the coronavirus, and more than a quarter of them were tested. More than a month after the pandemic hit the United States, the persistent test shortage means that healthcare workers are testing and treating patients while experiencing mild symptoms that could signal that they are infected themselves. According to the newspaper, the interviewing of 13 nurses and 2 doctors who described the testing shortage at their hospitals. Many medical centers are testing only the workers with the most severe symptoms, according to the frontline workers at the hospital's officials. As the results, nurses and doctors risk infecting patients, colleagues, and their families without knowing that they are carrying the virus, medical experts say. The New York City nurse works at Mount Sinai, and major institution in the national epicenter of this pandemic. Her nausea, upset stomach, and low-grade fever did not qualify her to get a test in late March. She told Reuters on conditions of anonymity that she continued to work because her fever was at 100.2 Fahrenheit, was just below the threshold set by the U.S. Center for Disease Control and Prevention for sending health care workers home. Representative Katie Porter has been all business since she's been elected to office. Today, Representative Porter released a report showing that in spite of the growing concerns and warnings about the potential oncoming pandemic threat of the COVID-19 virus from top officials and experts, Donald Trump not only did nothing about it, but he allowed the ramped up exportation of such needed medical supplies. The report, titled "Everyone But Us," charges Donald Trump with mismanaging our nation's medical supplies in the months leading up to the current crisis. Representative Porter, like many other Democrat officials, have long pledged with Trump to use the powers afforded him under the Defense Production Act to ramp up production and supply chains for much needed medical supplies. This essential medical supplies were needed weeks ago at the front lines of battle to save lives. Linda Tripp died on Wednesday morning. A close friend told thedailymail.com that she died with a smile on her face. Tripp was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer less than a week ago. Her husband and daughter were the only relatives allowed in Tripp's room in the ICU unit due to the coronavirus protocol. Linda's daughter, Allison, wrote, "My mommy is leaving this earth. I don't know myself if I can survive this heartache," Linda Tripp's daughter wrote on Facebook on Tuesday. Linda Tripp's secret conversations with Monica Lewinsky led to the impeachment of former President Bill Clinton in 1998 after she was a whistleblower. Lewinsky said, "No matter the past, upon hearing that Linda Tripp is very seriously ill, I hope she can recover. I can't imagine how difficult this is for her family." A man who was sentenced for sexual assault was commuted by outgoing Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin last year was arrested on Tuesday on charges of producing child pornography, federal officers say. The U.S. Attorney's Office for the Western District of Kentucky announced that Dayton Jones of Hopkinsville has been charged with 1 count of producing child sex abuse material. The prosecution is about one thing and the one thing only. Mr. Jones' conduct is harming someone's child in the Western District of Kentucky in violation of federal law, the U.S. Attorney Russell Coleman said in a statement. The duo, whose legal names are Lynette Hardaway and Rochelle Richardson, claim in a tweet on Wednesday afternoon that individuals will get sicker if they stay inside amidst the pandemic, a statement directly at odds with the advice of the public health experts who have called for millions of Americans to self-isolate. The only way we can become immune to the environment, we must be out in the environment. Quarantining people inside their homes for an extended period will make people sick, the pair tweeted from their official account, which boasts 1.4 million followers. The account later appeared to be unlocked, indicating the violation tweet had been deleted. A public message appended over their post that read, "This tweet is no longer available because it violates Twitter rules." Twitter recently expanded its rule against the medical misinformation to include posts that contradict guidance from the authoritative health agencies. The social media company in recent weeks has separately found that posts by Fox News, Laura Ingraham, Trump's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, broke its rules against the COVID-19 misinformation as well. A pair of serial burglars who thought that they could commit break-ins with immunity because cops are busy handling the coronavirus crisis were busted on Tuesday, according to officials. Joseph Porter, age 31, and Rebecca Wood, age 23, were both arrested around 11:20 a.m. in the Bay Shore area for multiple burglaries throughout Suffolk County, police say. Cops put the pieces together after realizing the duo's Honda Santa Fe fit the description of the vehicle used in a previously reported burglaries. Porter admitted to investigators that he believed he would get away with it scot-free because law enforcement was preoccupied with the COVID-19 challenges. The pair were both slapped with several burglaries and attempted burglary charges in connection with a string of 11 incidences that began on the 9th of March. Once again, thank you for watching CCN Midday News. Hope you enjoyed. Please like, share, and subscribe. Also hit that notification button so you will never miss another news update. Have a great day. Peace.